Welcome to Buzzed and Baffled, the podcast where the wine is flowing and the stories are strange.
Each week, we uncork a bottle, take a sip, and dive into some of the most jaw-dropping, unbelievable true tales you've never heard before.
From historical mysteries to bizarre real-life events, we'll have you wondering, is this for real?
So, grab your glass, sit back, and join us as we get buzzed and you get baffled.
Hey listeners, just a quick note before we dive in. Buzzed and Baffled is a podcast where we enjoy a glass of wine, share wild stories, and sometimes get a little, buzzed.
While we strive to share true and accurate tales, we're here for the entertainment as much as the facts. So take everything we say with a grain of salt and a splash of wine. Any opinions shared here are our own and do not reflect those of any other party.
Always drink responsibly and remember, the truth can be stranger than fiction.
Okay, so we're back.
We are back.
Like, it's technically just after we did the last one because we're preparing for us both being on vacation.
Yeah, so we're doing a little bit of a time skip. So the episode we're recording right now, we're recording the same day that we did the Pickleball Swindler. So we're doing a doubleheader today. You're going to hear this episode actually a week after we record it. And the episode we're recording next week, you're going to hear the week after that.
Because we're both on vacation.
Because we're both out of town. And we don't want any of our fans to have to go without because that would just be tragic.
Like, there are 20 people counting on us.
But yeah, really, I mean, at this point, yeah. That's like a classroom.
Yeah. Like, we're important.
We can't let our fans down.
So, Lisa has hightailed it.
So it was like, enough of that shit. I am out of here.
I was like, you are welcome to stay. And she's like, peace out.
Nope, gotta go.
I'm going home. But David made us these really good date cookies, and I'm not mad about them.
They are very good. So that is one of the things Donna makes. David has made them, but I'm going to be real. Donna's are far and away better. And this is a Donna.
Oh, so these are
Donna made them. She freezes them. All David did was cut them and heat them up.
I mean, I would pay money for her to make me one of these logs and just keep it in my freezer.
She makes them at Christmas time, and she knows the meal that I like that she makes, which is flank steak, German potato salad, and she makes date pinwheels for like Christmas dinner every year because she knows I love those three things.
Are you sure it's not fried chicken?
I'm sure. I'm sure. And she also makes fig Lebkuchen, which I don't think you've had.
I don't know what that is.
It's gingerbread adjacent, not as gingerbready, but it's thick and hearty like that.
I made gingerbread men once, and I dunked them and gave them little chocolate pants.
Okay.
It was delicious.
They weren't Winnie the Pooh.
It was definitely pants, no shirt, not shirt, no pants.
Okay, I think that's probably a good time to introduce our wine of the night. We've had this brand on before, Protea, and the one we had before was a rosé.
We were not a fan.
But
I bought this at the same time I bought the last episode's wine.
Yeah,
and it sounded good.
And it wasn't bad. It just wasn't what we were expecting.
Well, it said dry rosé last time, and it was sweet.
And this is actually from the coast of South Africa, which is not a place we normally get wines from. I think this is one of the few brands that we've had from South Africa. And this is probably a rehashing because I think this is the exact same thing that was on the rosé blend, or the rosé wine. But this is a Chenin Blanc. And the description is, Protea, the national flower of South Africa, is cherished for its beauty and diversity. Protea wines express this extraordinary miscellany. I knew the word miscellany was coming up, so I stumbled over express because I pre-read this, and I was like, who puts miscellany in a description? Okay. Protea wines express this extraordinary miscellany in their varietal character and distinctive flavors. Our unique bottles can be upcycled and reused in as many ways as your imagination allows, and our labels are printed on 100% recycled material, symbolizing our environmentally friendly brand ethos. And the bottle is very pretty. It has these Protea flowers on it.
And the wine itself, because a Chenin Blanc is very similar to a Sauvignon Blanc, but this is more floral forward.
And I haven't tried it yet. And this, I think Protea is, I guess, probably the brand, but the winery is Anthony Rupert, and Anthony is because South Africa was settled by the Dutch, is Anthonij.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you looked out that this was not your winery.
Yeah, I'm like, I would have messed that up big time.
But yeah, I'm going to give it a taste and see what we have.
No, it's floral forward. I like it. I would get this. I wouldn't get the rosé again. I would get this one.
Oh, this is much better than the rosé.
Mm-hmm.
The rosé had like it was like a rubber.
Well, but if you tell me it's going to be a dry rosé and then it's sweet, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I like the Boda Box dry rosé.
And it was, and maybe it was just a bad bottle, but it was, I don't know, whatever the rosé varietal that they had, I didn't really care for those grapes.
So I would buy this one.
This is very good. It has just a little sweet edge on it, almost like a honeysuckle.
Like, I'm trying to think what I would eat this with. Like, I think it's mostly probably like some kind of salad. It would be good.
It's very light, and
like this isn't a wine you had with steak.
No, and this isn't
even pork.
This isn't like a pasta wine even. This is a light summer salad.
Yeah. I'm picturing like snap peas and like maybe a poppy seed dressing.
Yeah, you want something with a lot of greens to kind of offset. But it's this is much better than the rosé. So, and I do have a red of this that I bought that we'll have at some point. So we'll be able to kind of see.
So we just know rosé's out, but the Chenin Blanc in.
For sure. What do you got on in the hopper this week?
So today's story in the hopper is one I wrote a couple of months ago because I always like to have a bunch in the hopper. And I wrote this one shortly after I did the Kids on Fire story. I was like, I can't do 2 Jesus stories one after another. That's too much. But this is one that I can't let go because this stupidity within the story astounded even me. And so I've entitled this one, Remember that every dead body in Mount Everest was once a highly motivated person. And this is the story of John Chau.
I remember you asking what I knew about this, and I remember it happening, and I remember reading like the CNN article or something and thinking how stupid this guy was. But at that point it had just happened, like there was hardly any details. I didn't look into his life or anything like that, so I'm excited to learn about it.
Well, don't worry, the deeper you dive, the dumber it gets.
Surprised.
So, this story shares similar themes with like the Kids on Fire. So, it's where people are committed to something so much that they're like guaranteed to have bad outcomes.
Okay.
Like they can't read the room and decide, oh, maybe I should stop.
Okay, they think they're going to be the one who makes the difference. They're going to be the one who ends up with the different outcome than everybody else.
Yeah. So like, they say that hard work pays off in the future, laziness pays off now. Well, maybe they should listen to that. Because, oh my God.
Okay.
Quite literally in this case. So today we learn about John Chau. He is another American evangelical. He was a missionary who made a fateful decision to try to convert the people of the Sentinelese tribe in the East Indian Ocean. Which, people do missionary work all the time and nothing bad happens. But this guy was like, you know what? I'm going to up my game and I'm going to ignore everyone telling me not to do it. So we're going to start by talking about who the Sentinelese are.
Okay.
Because this is important. So these are a group of indigenous people in the map. I found it on the map, on the actual world map, not the American map.
Good thing, yeah, she started on the, and I was like, girl, you gotta look at the world map.
Yeah, like, I'm not good at maps.
No, you're not.
But, so they are in the East Indian Ocean. And they are a protected tribe of the, and I'm going to butcher this, the Andamanese people? Andamanese?
Let's see, here. I think Andamanese.
Andamanese peoples. So in 1956, the Indian government declared their island a reserve and prohibited travel within 3 nautical miles to prevent intrusion from outsiders.
Okay, I'm like, okay, good on the government for being like, hey, they're living.
They don't want
leave them alone.
contact, we're going to leave them alone. So due to the isolation of this tribe, the size of the group is unknown. Because nobody goes in within 3 nautical miles and we'll leave them alone. The estimates range that it could be anywhere from 35 people to 500 people.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Yes. So you can see the one picture I have on the board. That is of the tribe that someone took from a boat 3 nautical
So they have like a
miles away.
super massive telephoto lens.
And so like they saw the boat and they don't look friendly. They would like you to not.
They're very upset.
Yes.
And they're so kind of foreshadowing here. They're giving a warning.
Yeah. They're telling you.
Like when a rattlesnake rattles its tail. Like, get out of here.
And if anyone knows Kyla, she knows she loves rattlesnakes.
Get out of here.
So pictures are prohibited. And that's like one of the few pictures. I looked online and I could find 2 pictures, and that's one of them. Mm-hmm. So someone who saw this tribe in 1977 described like the people, they're like short in stature, like they tend to be about 5'3".
Okay, so you fit right in.
And it's proposed that they may have insular dwarfism.
Yeah, that would kind of track. I know there's a lot of
which occurs when populations are small and there's a limited environment, and if there's nutritional impacts, you tend to be smaller in stature.
Kind of like the pygmy people.
Yes.
They're a tribe of smaller stature people. And anywhere in the world you look, Sweden and Norway have super tall people,
but they were hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
They had to run their prey to death.
And if you live on an island, your sources of nutrition are limited, as well as the gene pool from which you try to grow.
Like the island isn't huge. I'm willing to bet that island is smaller than like the main island in Hawaii. Like the big island, that is a smaller island. Like you could probably walk around it in less than 2 hours. So the Sentinelese, they're hunter-gatherers who use spears to hunt animals on land, but they'll also catch seafood. Their shelters are often temporary huts constructed of 4 poles and leaf-covered roofs. It is not believed that they are able to utilize metal to make tools or weapons.
Yeah, they don't have a source of metal.
Yeah, they're primitive.
There's not an ore in there that they can just go dig up.
Due to their isolation, like, they don't know what the language is. So, like, there's no way to know what the language is, and you can't classify it. So no one is, like, fluent in Sentinelese. So their isolation from the rest of the world is voluntary due to the wish to avoid campaigns to invade their lands and exploit their resources. And they definitely do not welcome interlopers onto the land, as evidenced by that picture, which I'll post this picture on buzzandbaffled.net. If I was driving by and like someone was sitting on the beach of their house doing this, I'm not going to pull my boat out to be like, what's up, guys?
And this is from 3 miles away that they're mad. Like, they can barely see this boat that's going by, and they're like, get the F out of here.
Yep. So this serves as a self-preservation for the tribe because it helps to prevent them from experiencing relocation, which is something that typically happens. We want your land. We're going to relocate you. In America, we're very familiar with that.
We sure are. We got real good at it here in America.
Yeah. Like, we're terrible at a lot of things, but real good at the things we're terrible at.
Stealing people's land and involuntarily relocating them is one of our strengths.
Like, they're trying to avoid a Trail of Tears scenario. So in 2023, it became known that the Indian government was planning a massive development project that would wipe out other indigenous group near them called the Shompen, which was near the Sentinelese Island. That group was also hostile to outsiders and have killed people who have attempted to make contact with them. For example, the first known attempted contact was in 1771 by the East Indian Trading Company.
Oh.
It didn't go well.
That's, I mean, I don't want to say it's surprising, but given that, like, everyone learned about the Dutch East Indian Trading Company in history class, it was like they ran the world. They had every ship and sailor and whatever they wanted at their disposal.
But here we are, Eurocentric Europeans thinking we could just walk in with some tribe, but instead you get a spear to the neck. I mean, that would stop me from going to your island.
Would it?
It depends. Are there cats there? Like, if Lana's there, I'll just leave her. It's fine. And if Molly's there, definitely it's okay. We'll just leave her.
Molly.
Also, like, could I put Molly in some kind of life vest and let her swim to shore?
You know, you're gonna let Molly be the sacrifice.
Let's see what they do.
Poor Molly.
Justice for Molly. So, that's the Sentinelese. So that's kind of an idea of fuck around and find out.
Well, and they just want to be left alone.
Yeah, they want to live on their island.
They're not trying to leave their island and go somewhere else and be like, hey, you have to change your way of life. We're not trying to do that to them. They just leave them the fuck alone.
I'm like, and this is an island where it's just them. It's not like there's another tribe who they're at warfare with. They don't go to other people's islands. Everyone just minds their damn business.
Just like, literally leave them alone. That's all they want.
Because I'm assuming they're aware that there are other people trying to come in, and they don't know the context, I'm sure, but they just want to be left alone. And I can understand that. On Sunday, I want to rot on my couch. I don't want to be left alone.
Yeah.
This is just a more extreme version of that. So, we have them, but then we have John Chau.
Fucking John Chau.
There's a picture of him there. That is from his Instagram page when he was traveling. That might be in, like, Colorado, I think.
That looks like it could be Colorado.
So Chau was born in Arizona in 1991. He grew up in Washington with his parents heading the Chi Alpha, which was an international Christian fellowship.
Okay.
His mother works for fundraising for Oral Roberts University.
Probably the worst name for a university.
I wish you all could see her face when I said this, like her eyes crossed a little bit. I put in parentheses a private evangelical college in the event that none of us knew what this was.
Like Oral Roberts and Bob Jones and Liberty are all kind of on the same stratosphere of
and so, like,
terrible.
This is the university in Oklahoma, because of course it is. Mm-hmm. And his mother was a practicing attorney.
Okay, so she's a fundraiser and an attorney.
Yep.
Okay.
His father was a Chinese national. So his mom's white. His father's a Chinese national who left China during the Cultural Revolution and was a psychiatrist. So it very much surprised me that he ended up in this route, considering both of his parents are very educated. Yeah. But we have the evangelical portion.
Yeah, I think that wipes out.
It nulls things out. So, it was noted, everything I read, that Chau had a love for survival stories. Camping and Jesus Christ.
That's me if you ask me to go camping. I say, Jesus Christ.
Like, you should see the look at her face. She's like, we're going to Colorado. Let's go hiking.
Like, Jesus Christ.
But I'm going to Brewfest, so she knows she has to balance it out somehow. And so that just means a 5-mile hike. So it is noted that as a child, his family would often go camping, where he would knowing and intentionally eat wild berries not meant for human consumption.
So we have a long history of being a dumbass.
Yep.
See, and that's what I talked about in the very beginning, where he thinks he's special, and that everything that's ever happened is not going to apply to him.
He has a primary character problem. So after a while of him becoming ill, his family stopped going camping.
So they punished everybody instead of addressing the problem of their son being a moron.
Well, he gets his punishment.
Well, he did. Delayed. Justice delayed is not justice denied.
Yep. So growing up, he attended the Assemblies of God, was an international Pentecostal church.
I'm aware because growing up, I attended the Assembly of God.
You went to church? You didn't burst into flames?
I tried.
I was baptized.
I wasn't. No.
Well, I guess only one of us is going to hell.
Let's be real, Nicole. We know which one it is.
We know which one it is.
No, my grandmother attended the Assembly of God Church when we were very young. And I think by the time I was 5 or 6, we had stopped.
The Moo grandma?
No, the other grandma.
Oh, that's too bad.
But the pastor had 2 daughters who were the same age as me and my sister, so we were friends with them.
Yeah. So, like, congregational, aside from having the ugliest churches on earth, I think we're like Lutheran adjacent is the best way I can picture it.
I think it's more like Baptist adjacent.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Grandma.
So, yeah, it's, Pentecostal churches are...
No, congregational is Lutheran adjacent.
Oh, yeah.
Pentecostal is Baptist adjacent.
Okay, I misunderstood what you were saying.
I was like, I don't think they were. Like, I don't remember there being tongues or snakes or fire and brimstone. I also didn't get those tiny little wafers, which I've always wondered what they taste like.
We can buy them. Like, we can just buy them.
Order them on Amazon and just eat them.
Yeah, we can make Christ Krispies.
That would be amazing. We should do that.
Please do not hate us, people.
So, in addition to being a kid who eats poison berries and ruins his family's camping trips, he participated in something called the Royal Rangers, which is the Pentecostal equivalent of the Boy Scouts, which we should have David here to tell us all about it.
His Boy Scout award, his Eagle Scout award is right up there over your shoulder.
I am trying to find something to hang on the wall so we can take that down. So he earned medals, which was the equal ranking of an Eagle Scout. So this guy was the same level as David.
But it's like Jesus Scout.
Jesus Scout. So, after graduating from the Vancouver Christian High School, how many students do you think were in this entire high school in Vancouver?
Oh gosh. So, okay, Vancouver, Washington.
Across 7 grades.
So it's like 5 through 12.
Mm-hmm.
6 through 12, whatever. I'm guessing 27?
90.
Oh, okay.
And then he went to Oral Roberts University.
Yeah. Well, his mom had ties there.
But, like, Oral Roberts, and I'm not misremembering that he's that crazy megachurch guy with the dead eyes, right?
He could be, but there's so many people you're describing because they're all the same. Like, you could be talking about Jerry Falwell, you could be talking about Billy Graham.
Y'all can't see this, but I'm 100% Googling this right now.
I think Oral Roberts was kind of before the megachurch. He's like, he's not a Joel Osteen type.
Let's see.
Imagine being named Oral.
It's a terrible name.
It's a terrible name. Terrible name.
Okay. So this is like an old-timey black and white, like in the 70s.
Yeah, I knew he was like...
So this isn't the one I'm thinking of.
He was in the start of evangelism, but before megachurch evangelism.
That's more what I'm picturing. He looks like a fucking Cabbage Patch doll.
He does.
Like an old Cabbage Patch doll.
Like you put a gray wig and a red tie in your Cabbage Patch.
Yes. Okay. And so I had to get an idea of the belief system. What do we know about, like, the beliefs of Oral Roberts? Do you have anything? Because I wrote a whole paragraph.
I don't know about him specifically, but I know about the beliefs of Pentecostalism.
Okay. So at Oral Roberts, Chau was completely immersed in evangelical culture, more so than ever before. So it was him and 90 other kids at this high school, and he's like, God, 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 poison berries, poison berries, poison berries. The conservative university forbids smoking, drinking, swearing, and any kind of sexual relations outside of heterosexual marriage, which is like, well, that's an interesting distinction.
I'm surprised they added marriage.
I also think that's probably just a given.
Yeah. I don't think there's many homosexual people just lining up to go to Oral Roberts University.
I also know there is zero chance, like, I would burst into flames if I even crossed the property
we would not have even, like, our applications would have disintegrated in the
Yep. So at the university, he admired a man called David Livingston and Bruce Olson. And he wanted to follow in their footsteps to be a missionary. He did work as a missionary. He traveled to Mexico, South America, and the Andaman Islands.
I don't know what that is. I believe whatever you're saying.
Andaman Islands.
Andaman Islands.
Yep. And the Iraqi Kurdistan prior to 2018, which I'm like, well, that's bold.
Well, he thinks he's immune to everything, apparently.
So this is where, like, the Jesus camp kind of ties in. In 2017, he attended a missionary boot camp.
I have thoughts about missionaries, and I don't want to get into it because we're going to discuss it more.
She's not going to do what I do.
Yeah, I'm not going to pull a Nicole and just say whatever your next line is on your story.
So he attended missionary boot camp and was organized by an evangelical group called All Nations, which stated that they taught missionaries how to navigate hostile natives, even going as far as to role-play scenarios where people dressed as natives and carried fake spears.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, like, basically they're wearing blackface and, like, pretending to know what other cultures are like.
Only Nicole can see me, but I'm, like, squeezing my, like, furrowed brow.
I'm like, just hold it, I'll take a picture and put it up.
Yeah, it's just like... We'll put a picture.
Put a picture. So All Nations strove to install a wartime mentality to missionaries so they could make strategic decisions in battle against a real enemy.
This is going to be like 45 minutes of me sighing loudly at everything you say.
I think we're also going to get over 56 minutes, but that's fine. They can listen as long as they take. So it was during this time, because he's like going in and researching shit, that he identified he wished to convert the Sentinelese, and he stated that this was his burden.
No, it's not.
I was like, you're pretty you think that you're more important than you are. When speaking at his church about a mission trip to Mexico, he stated, "We can't be lukewarm. We need to know how to defend our faith." Like, bitch, the Sentinelese aren't at war with you.
They're not fighting you.
Yeah. They don't even know you exist.
And they don't care.
Yeah. So he learned about the Sentinelese, and I didn't even know this was a thing, and it blew my mind, through a missionary database called the Joshua Project.
Be right back. Immediately going to look up the Joshua Project.
So the entry on this tribe for the Joshua Project indicated that people should pray for the Indian government to allow Christians to earn the trust of the Sentinelese people and live among them.
No, stop.
It also stated that in addition to basic medical care, the Sentinelese need to know that the Creator God exists and He loves them and paid the price for their sins.
They don't need to know that. They don't want to know that.
The Indian government also decided we're going to leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah, if an entire government is like, no, that's off limits, they stay the fuck away.
They've been killing people since 1771. We're going to leave them alone.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why I wrote this, but we're going to find out.
Okay.
So do you know anything about Livingston and Olson? So these are the two missionaries that we idolized.
Was it David Livingston? That name rings a bell, but I can't remember.
So we have David Livingston and Bruce Olson.
No.
I dug deep here.
And maybe David Livingston's just another name I heard, but lay it on me.
I was waiting to see if one of these was the cannibal missionary, and it's not. So David Livingston was a missionary in the 1800s who traveled to Africa with the belief that he could end the East African Arab Swahili slave trade, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I want to end the slave trade.
Did you say Swahili?
Swahili?
Swahili.
God damn it, John's gonna make so much fun of me. He was given the label of Africa's greatest missionary. Yet there is the only record of him converting one resident of Africa.
Of the entire continent of Africa.
The entire continent.
He gets one of the guys like, I'll do it if you just shut up and go away.
Yeah. It is noted that he is known for treating those he met with respect. Maybe Chau should have paid a little more attention to this. But he disappeared in his travels in Africa during 1873 and died in Zambia of malaria and dysentery. I mean, it happens.
You reap what you sow.
Olson was born in Minnesota in 1941 and worked as a missionary in Colombia and Venezuela. He is best known for bringing Christianity to the Bari people, and Swedish anthropologists accused him of destroying an Aboriginal tribe and called for he and other Christian missionaries to be expelled.
Yeah, you can't just destroy a whole tribe.
At the current time, it is estimated that 70% of the Bari people identify as Christian due to him.
Okay.
Well, that's just like a one-sentence thing. Okay. So Chau is like wanting to be a missionary, but he's like in college, but he's working. What do you think his job is?
Oh gosh, so he's at Oral Roberts. Is it on the college or is it like an outside job?
I think this is like after college. So like in college, he's like researching this in the Joshua Project database. And he's like, I need to go to this murderous tribe and convert them. But now I've graduated and I'm working a career.
So it wasn't Chick-fil-A? Because that was my first guess.
It's meat related.
Did he work for Tyson Foods?
He worked as a beef jerky marketer. For Perky Jerky.
Perky Jerky. Sorry to our 20 listeners who I just blew out your eardrums with my exasperation at Perky Jerky. Isn't jerky with like caffeine in it or something?
No, it's like turkey and stuff. Like it's like healthier jerky. I've had Perky Jerky, but I'm not going to eat it now. So like he's doing his thing. He's working for Perky Jerky.
Jerky. Oh my god.
But he's taking a lot of missionary trips to all those places. So in October 2018, he decides, I'm going to shoot my shot. He established residence in Port Blair, which is the capital of Andaman?
Yeah, we went over this Andaman.
And the Nicobar Islands. So that's where the thing is. So like right next to that, where I put it, that tiny island next to it is where he established residence.
Right. It's not labeled as Andaman Island on our map, but the capital is labeled strangely.
But it's like a tiny little sliver.
Yeah. Okay.
So in these islands, there are restrictions, which are the inhabited islands where the government issues a permit for travel. Like you can't go outside of the island you're on. Mm-hmm. So you get to like India or Thailand, you come over to this island, and to go to anywhere else you need a permit. You can't just like rent a pontoon boat and like drive out there. However, in August 2018, they did remove 29 of the islands which were restricted. But it wasn't the Sentinelese Island. That is still on the no-go zone.
I can imagine, yeah.
So it should be noted that at this time, the North Sentinel Island was still restricted and not part. Like, there's still the 3 nautical mile don't go here. So Chau wanted to go to the North Sentinel Island because of his belief that it was Satan's last stronghold on Earth.
Oh, dude. He's delusional.
Which I'm like, you're a minority.
Yeah. Like, read a history book.
Like, you're trying to take... But I'm also willing to bet that Oral Roberts University didn't have a lot of science or history on the books.
They opened their science book and it started like with Jesus' birth, like no pages before that.
And like people and dinosaurs are like in the same location.
They're like riding dinosaurs.
It's like the weird homeschool books where like they're trying to and the Tyrannosaurus and the person were together. Like no bitch they weren't. So where am I here? So in order to be given permission to visit, is required to receive vaccinations. He didn't take the actual route. He self-quarantined in an attempt to reduce the risk of the Sentinelese, but I think he lacked the scientific knowledge to understand that quarantine is different than vaccines.
Yeah. So let's just take
if I carry the smallpox virus and I am not hurt by it, that doesn't mean a group of people who have never been exposed to smallpox.
It doesn't matter what period of time. It doesn't matter if you sit in your bedroom for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you're still going to carry the smallpox virus.
Yep.
But yeah, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. He's infuriating.
Also, his quarantine was an 11-day period.
Oh, you know, all the major diseases only last 10 days. So
where he went without sunlight, prayed, exercised, and read stories about prior missionary accounts, which has nothing to do with fucking vaccines.
Or quarantine.
Like, you could have sunlight and be quarantined.
We all lived it during quarantine.
Like, you're not a vampire.
We're allowed to go outside in the sun.
Yes. He also created a contact kit, which was picture card for communication. I have a lot of stories or questions because, like, you're going to a culture you don't know the language. They don't know what your pictures are. Mm-hmm. So how are you creating a picture board? They don't have autism. They speak a different language.
Yes. Your pictures mean nothing to them.
Yes. Which, pin that behind you.
Okay.
He got gifts for the Sentinelese people, medical equipment, and things he viewed as other necessities, and that was not expanded upon. I'm assuming it was perky jerky.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say Bibles, but perky jerky was actually the better... Yeah, okay.
Chau did not get permission from the government to go to the island because he tried, and they kept saying no.
Because you are not allowed to go there.
Yeah. So to get to the island, Chau paid 2 fishermen to drop him off near the island. So they went within the 3 nautical miles, and the fishermen warned him not to go, but they're going to take your 30 bucks.
Yeah, get your bag.
His first attempt was on November 15th, 2018. He attempted to make landfall in a canoe with a waterproof Bible, and I'm sure he was greeted by that. But he retreated when he was met with hostility to communicate and offer gifts. Like, he didn't even make landfall that time.
You don't say. I mean, 3 miles away they're doing this.
Yeah.
Not someone paddling up in their canoe.
So it's documented in his diary that when he arrived, the Sentinelese came rushing out and he was yelling at them. And this is what he wrote in his diary. And I found the pictures of the diary online, and I posted them on buzzedandbaffled.com so you can see the idiocy. And he yelled to them, "My name is John. I love you, and Jesus loves you."
Yeah, because they know what that means.
Mm-hmm. When the Sentinelese began stringing their bows, he threw fish at them and retreated.
Like how you throw like a fish at a grizzly to get to
like distract them. That night he wrote in his diary, "You guys might think I'm crazy and all this, but I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people." Read the room.
Yeah.
The second attempt was the next day. He made landfall. He laid out gifts on the ground, and he noted that he attempted to sing songs of worship and preach from Genesis to them.
Singing on eagle's wings, and they're like, what in the actual fuck is happening right now?
He even attempted to speak the native language, which I'm assuming was like a variation of a known language, like island adjacent.
Yeah.
But it was obviously unsuccessful to communicate with them. At first they responded with laughter. Eventually, a boy shot an arrow at him, piercing the Bible he was holding to his chest, forcing a second retreat. They had taken his kayak, and he was forced to swim a mile back to the boat. Didn't learn his lesson.
Nope, I'm guessing there's going to be a third attempt.
There's a third attempt.
Having his Bible poetically pierced by an arrow over his heart wasn't enough.
His third and final visit occurred on November 17th, 2018, when he directed the fishermen to leave him on the island, cutting off any avenue for a retreat. Which also, like, fishermen be like, "Oh, we probably shouldn't do this."
Mm-hmm. But they're like, yeah, whatever, I'll take your money.
So the fishermen reported Hold on, I gotta flip the page. My nails. That they later saw the islanders dragging Chau's body and bury him on the beach. So obviously he wasn't able to go back and record in his little diary what happened, but they did sit there and they did watch them. They didn't see him murder him, but they definitely saw them bury him. And like they never recovered it.
Yeah, you can't go there. Like that's what happens. Sorry about your luck, pal, but
Yeah.
I feel bad for his parents.
But also his mother leaned into this because she's an evangelical working for this terrible university, and like, you know, your idiot son eats poison berries and has like this weird fixation. He has first person syndrome. Like, stop him. Like, I'm willing to bet there's other things going on that maybe need to be addressed. So, any thoughts on converting non-Christian cultures to Christianity?
I do have thoughts. I'll go back to my thoughts on missionaries, which is kind of in the same vein. Stop it. Stop it.
Knock it off.
Knock it off. Cut it out.
If you want to do things to help them, that's fine, but meet the culture where it's at, and don't introduce your own shit any more than you have to.
Yep, and if you want to go somewhere and bring whatever your religious or denomination is, you go there and you let people come to you.
Yeah. Don't bring your pox blankets to them.
You don't go there and hand out Bibles and food because it's transactional. And
if I have to, in order to eat, pretend to give a shit about your beliefs, that's not good.
yeah,
You're forcing people into something.
it's a trap. Like it's a trick. Like that's it's like getting your dog to eat a pill. Like
Yeah, I put it in cheese, and you want the cheese, so you have to eat it, so you eat the antibiotic.
yeah. So missionaries, knock it off. Like if you want to go and I know there are groups that go places like Honduras or whatever for a week and they help build and
Well, I'm there, I'm building a hospital, I'm digging a well, and I'm not bringing the other
stop
stuff.
proselytizing while you're there.
Yeah.
If you want to go do good, go do good. Don't make it conditional on someone converting to your beliefs.
Because if someone was like, hey, Nicole, do you want to go to this place and we're going to build a solar station and a well? Okay. That sounds fair.
But then if someone's like, oh, and also we're going to force the local people to sit and hear from our Bible sermons in order to get their dinner that night.
I would still go because I'm the sleeper cell who's like burning the Bibles in the background, so like you can't do it.
So that's my thought on missionaries, my thought on converting, especially small tribes to Christianity. Same thing. Knock it off.
Leave them alone.
Leave them alone. You were warned. The entire world was warned.
They told him, don't do it. You're not allowed within 3 nautical miles for a reason.
You are not special. Like, he was a narcissist, probably.
I was chosen by God.
Yeah. Well, look how that worked out for you. Like,
well, the thing is, Chau's father was not in support of his actions.
so good. He should have
Mom
been.
was, I'm assuming. It didn't say, but I'm assuming the only reason he kept going.
Well, and someone had to fund this.
Yes. So Dad described religion as opium for the masses.
Which it is.
Because remember, he came from like communist China and it was like running.
Where it's like illegal to have a religion.
And he was like reported that he was not in agreement with his missionary work. And he was later quoted saying, John is gone because Western ideology overpowered my Confucian influence. He blamed evangelicals' extreme Christianity for pushing his child to a not unexpected end. And he referred with a particular bitterness that the Great Commission, Jesus' injunction in Christians spreading the gospel to all people, was the reason this happened. So, like, he was coming from a very different cultural viewpoint than his wife, but the son followed, because I'm assuming Mom was probably a little more domineering, and this is just my guessing.
I think you're probably
based on how things ended up.
Here.
And so there was, I stumbled across this blog as I'm doing research for this. I was like, oh my. So there's this faith-based blog called Cripplegate.
Pardon me?
You heard me. But it's not like what you think it is. It's It's named after a London estate that supported Puritan ideas in the 15 to 1600s. So it's like cripples. No, it's like there was an English estate called Cripplegate, and I'm
Okay.
hoping that
So this isn't like a scandal regarding people with like physical disabilities.
I didn't even look into what that estate was. I was like, I'm too far down the rabbit hole. I only have 50 minutes. And so, but it wrote about Chau's actions, and it stated that we should be willing to die for the gospel, stressing the belief that souls are at stake, and to live is Christ and to die is to gain. So there's still people pushing this. How will they hear us unless we go?
They don't want to hear you.
Cripplegate does not agree with India's no contact, stating, by all accounts, this tribe has been in existence for a really long time without ever having contact with the outside world. India seems to not only be comfortable with this, but by outlawing any contact with the tribe. We need to realize that this is just a stark reminder that God reaches people through ordinary people like me and you who are willing to go and tell people who haven't heard.
You know what? Please do. Please go.
I mean,
all of you.
I hope the guy who wrote Cripplegate website goes there.
Pull up in your boat. You'll be the savior. These people have Christ complexes.
Yeah. And so this guy's like, we need the church, but this is Project 2025. Like, that's what this is. We need the church. The focus here is that missionaries need the financial support of the churches to pay for their endeavors. Whether you're a campus minister or a foreign missionary or a street evangelist?
Evangelist?
God damn it.
Like Linda Evangelista.
Yeah. You're a fool if you don't align yourself with the local church and submit to their leadership. So basically, don't get a real job. Mm-hmm. Just travel the world, like,
bothering people.
Like, in my mind, I'm picturing campus preacher. Like, every campus has the guy who's like, the end is near.
Yep. We talked
like,
about
he's obviously schizophrenic or something. And this guy goes on to, like, we need teams. We don't need to listen to the world. Here are the ideas communicated that the outside of the faith practice and missionary work cannot be understood, and the importance of this task just needs to be done.
Well, you go and do it. Go do it. Go. One of you will succeed eventually, right? You better keep trying until someone does.
Yep. And so, like, this whole thing is, like, we need to support missionaries, I'm like, so, like, nobody learned anything from him getting, I'm assuming, speared or shot to death.
They would have speared him. Or, like, they probably speared him if he was up that close.
Yeah.
Because
at first they were like, who is this idiot?
Yeah. And they're like, this is the third time you came back. Like, we warned you. We shot your Bible while you were holding it on your chest, and you still came back.
It's like, if you come in my yard, and I'm like, get out of my yard, eventually I'm just going to shoot you.
Yeah. And then you come back, and then, like, you shoot at their feet, and then they come back a third time, and everyone's surprised when you kill them.
Yep. And so, like, obviously there's a lot of criticisms about Chau's actions. Like, human rights organizations are like, he was irresponsible. He could have introduced pathogens to this tribe. They had no immunity to anything outside of them.
And his 11-day no-sun quarantine is not going to change.
Because I'm also willing to bet he wasn't real big on vaccines. That's conjecture on my part. But I'm willing to bet he's not.
Well, considering that you're supposed to be vaccinated to travel around those islands, and he didn't follow those rules for travel, then he did not follow the vaccine recommendations.
And so, like, a lot of the organizations who supported him are like, criticized because they're viewing him as a martyr.
He's not.
And making a statement that privilege of sharing the gospel is often involved in great cost. These are all quotes. So
it's not.
So others note that genuine missionary work should be characterized by shared experiences, mutual benefits, and the focus on building relationships, not just spreading a message.
Yes, thank you. Like, you can help people. And,
like, find out what their needs are, ask them, and help them meet the needs they've identified.
And you could say, hey, we have this thing, but there's absolutely no pressure. But if you want to come over on a Sunday, stop by and see what it's about. Not, take this Bible or you don't get your rice.
If you want food, you have to have this. This will make you smile, though.
Like for real or for not?
No, like for real. Just like, with Nicole, it's really hard to tell. Like, Nicole ruins everything. In 2018, Chau was awarded the Darwin Award.
Well, okay, yeah, that doesn't make me smile.
For those of you who don't know, it's a humorous award given to people who die or sterilize themselves due to self-imposed actions.
Perfect.
And it should be known, like, obviously, like, he didn't get any, like, mental health diagnosis. I think we can safely assume something's going on there because one doesn't fly across the world and like get shot at by arrows and just keep going unless something's happening.
Same with the berries. And like with the berries, instead of saying, hey, stop eating the goddamn berries, they just stop going camping. Like, no, address the problem. Don't just mask it.
I mean, if Molly just kept eating plants in the garden that were poisonous, we know how that's going to end. Molly's not going to be with us anymore. But this is also why I'm not a parent.
Yeah, so that's why I think, like, his mom was probably heavily involved in encouraging this behavior.
I'm surprised, like, I didn't even look to see if mom and dad are still married. Like, if I was dad, I would have fucking cooked bait and been like, I'm out. But, like, as of today, no one has made contact with the Sentinelese, and they're still on their island by themselves.
That's where they belong. Leave them the fuck alone. They're not hurting anybody unless you break the rules and go there. Just let them do their thing.
So, Kyla, we haven't planned our winter trip. What are your... No. Definitely not.
I'm applying for our permit right now.
No, we will go somewhere tropical, but not there. There's much better islands for us to visit.
Maybe we could do a cruise and stay 3 nautical miles away.
I just watched Poop Cruise. I do not know if you're gonna get what that is. You haven't watched Poop Cruise? There's this cruise ship that happened, and the toilets and everything stopped working, and they had to poop in bags, and it was like all over it was literally on the poop deck. It was like, I only made it halfway through, and I couldn't stomach it anymore.
Well, this guy's a moron. He got exactly what he deserved. He had every opportunity to not engage in this behavior, and he kept choosing to do so. So that's what you get, and your body is rotting insane in an island. And
like, maybe we need to decide for our next trip, though, because like maybe Mexico's not a great choice this year. But like, we could ditch David, or we could go to Edinburgh
in the winter.
I mean, I feel like it's the same temperature there all the time, and it never changes.
It's like 500 miles north of us.
Is it?
If you look at our handy world map, that's right in front of your face.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's on the ocean, so it's more temperate. But yeah, it is.
That might be a summer trip.
Yeah, that's like a fall trip, so we go to the Highland Games.
Are you trying to throw me in the Highland Games?
I'm not saying we're going to participate in the Highland Games. We're just going to watch the Highland Games. But if the opportunity arises,
you will definitely throw me like a log in the Highland.
Volunteer as tribute.
So maybe we need to find a other tropical place to go sit at a beach.
Yeah, but not the Sentinel.
But not the Sentinelese Islands.
Nope, that's a stay away situation.
So that is the story of what happens when you're too committed to something.
Just go fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
It was like patient 0 for FAFO.
Yeah. And so like, my next story won't be next week, it'll be the week after that, but the next one I do is a 2-parter, and it's a real banger.
Okay.
It happens in Florida, and all the good things happen.
Is there a Florida man involved?
No, this man is not Florida man. This man maybe should meet Florida man.
I'm probably going to meet Florida man, so I'm going to Florida next week in real time, but when this episode is released, it'll be the week before this episode is released. So by the time you hear this, I will have already gone to and from Florida.
Yeah, and so like she's abandoning us for like the day we're all supposed to take off of work and go sit at Gino's. I have to see if your husband is still coming, if he's gonna punk out and just play video games.
He's gonna punk out and play video games.
I have to go down and bully him and find out.
So, yeah, that was fascinating. I remember how ridiculous this was when I read the headline and the little blurb on whatever. But the more I learned about, excellent work. That was a good one. That's fascinating.
So I'd say everyone go look at the website, because I have the pictures of him, I have the pictures of the tribe, and I have his. There's a video about the Sentinelese I found, like a National Geographic kind of thing, and I found his copies of his actual journal pages from right before he was murdered.
Yep.
Or gave himself up as his tribute, however you choose to look at it.
His justified death.
Yeah. So, stay strong, guys, stay buzzed, and stay baffled.
Yeah.